What's up, guys? Just want to first of all thank everybody for your subscribes. We're up to 22 now. Thanks for all the Facebook loving. What do we got in today's gameplay?
Well, we're going to talk about your 49ers as part of our NFC West preview. Spoiler alert, I don't have them winning the division. Also, we're going to discuss Ray Rice and Greg Hardy, and should people like that get a second chance in the NFL, which actually Greg Hardy would be more like his third. But we'll start off with NFC West, where...
So who you got? Your order.
I don't have the Niners. I'm going to tell you that. So, I'm going to have Arizona finish, win the division. They didn't lose a whole lot, have a lot of people coming back, and it's kind of it's probably like their last real season of, a true Super Bowl contender. Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald are just getting old. Yeah, so probably the last one. Seattle, Marshawn Lynch, that loss is going to hurt them. We'll see what their offensive line does. We'll see how their defense is. There's still some question marks around them. Is Russell Wilson going to be distracted now that, him and Sierra finally tied the knot, and it's kind of his mind on other things, so...
More important things than Pete Carroll getting lockjaw chewing gum on the sidelines.
So we'll see what happens there, but I think it'll be Arizona, Seattle. See, to me, it's just toss-up on who's going to come in last, 49ers or the Rams. Jeff Fisher, he always has his tendency of finishing 7-9. 7-9, 7-9, 7-9. It's pretty much, it's guaranteed almost a 7-9 season every year. And 49ers, new head coach, his quarterback situation still not quite up there. Who is a quarterback even going to throw it to? Can Carlos Hyde stay healthy this year? What is their defense going to be? Is their defense going to show up at all? I mean, there's a lot of questions surrounding the 49ers. And then obviously the Rams, who's their quarterback going to be? Goff.
Not going to be Nick Foles, I can tell you that much right now.
No, and then Goff is just not
struggling.
Yeah, performing very well. So who is their quarterback really going to be? And then same thing with them is who do they have to throw it to? And their defense is decent, but it's not an upper echelon defense. It's not going to win them a ton of games. So I mean, like I said, 49ers and the Rams are kind of in that same situation where they don't have a whole lot going for them. Rams, they just moved to LA, so we'll see if that move has any sort of momentum in it, which I doubt, because LA fans, if you don't win like the first couple of games, they're just going to turn on you really quick and start booing you, and then you lose that home field advantage. So we'll see what that comes of it. But Arizona, Seattle, I'm going to go 49ers in LA. I'm going to put the 49ers third. Not really any strong conviction there, but it's your team. What do you have on them?
So my fours is kind of an intriguing division, I guess, in a lot of ways, because you could say there's a lot of questions all the way down the line with teams, I guess. The Cardinals, can Carson Palmer replicate what he did last season? He played at a pretty high level. How much does Larry Fitzgerald have left in the tank, that you kind of reiterated on. They have a great defenses back. They got Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, coming back healthy from his ACL tear. And then you got Seattle. They lost Mebane in the offseason. They lost Irvin. They lost Sweezy. They lost Okung. They're two offensive linemen. Unless you're a Seattle fan, you're going to say it's not a big loss losing those two guys, but really it is. They're going to come into this season with a completely brand new offensive line. Not to mention they lost beast mode. Can Thomas Rose be the bell cow of that offense now running the ball? And Russell Wilson has all that pressure now on him can he live up to how he played last year, or was last year just a fluke? We're going to find out. We'll also probably find out what type of gum Pete Carroll likes this year. I think it might be the Big Red Winter Fresh. Winter Fresh, double mint.
Big Red Winter Fresh?
Double mint.
It's two completely different.
That's what I meant. I meant Big Red or Winter Fresh.
Or Winter Fresh.
I heard he likes some juicy fruit, the Starburst. Also, now, down to my 49ers.
It's a good start. It's a good start when you think about Cheeman. Had this audible sigh. Just like, ugh, my team.
I mean, it's... my big thing is going to be, who's going to be my team's quarterback, There's going to be Kaepernick, is it going to be Blaine Gabbert? Blaine Gabbert he showed a little bit of progress last season. I still say if they would have benched Kaepernick earlier last season and went with Gabbert, they probably would have won more games than they did. Also, I feel, they had good drafts. The Niners, they always have been known to build towards the build in the draft. They drafted, minus Aldon Smith, if he would have not been an idiot like Manziel, getting the off-the-field issues. He probably would have been another great draft pick the Niners had. They drafted Eric Reed. They drafted Patrick Willis, who turned out to be a beast. But we did lose Boone to the Vikings. I mean, that's a big loss. Even though we have Anthony Davis coming back out of retirement, that's a heavy loss. And also, we didn't get Bolden. I'm pretty sure he's signed with the Saints, so... And our wide receiver we have Torrey Smith, but who's going to be that legitimate number 2 wideout? That's in questions in training camp. We have Quentin Patton. We have, what's his name, Johnson. I mean, I don't...
That's something the 49ers need to focus on in the draft, is getting a wide receiver. When was the last decent wide receiver they had?
Terrell Owens? No, Anquan Bolden, sorry.
That they drafted.
Oh, drafted. Probably T.O., my opinion.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Probably Terrell Owens, yeah. I'm not completely worried at all about the defense. Yes, they struggled last year, but it was their first year digesting all the losses that they had. They lost Patrick Willis to retirement last offseason.
Now it's the first year in a new system, too.
Yeah, but... I mean,
That's 3 years, 3 different systems.
I feel like this year, it's going to be a new system, yes, but they have... This defense, they'll have the same players that they had last year, and they should by now know the chemistries. I think NaVorro Bowman and Eric Reed and Bethea have to be the bell cows of that defense to get everybody in the right spots. I think Eric Reed's going to do fine. Bowman silenced all the critics last year that said he was not going to be good. He led the NFC in tackles last year. He was an absolute machine. So, I mean, I'm going to... I'm going to go with, John's thing. I got the Cardinals, Seahawks, Niners. There's a lot of questions with St. Louis, especially at the quarterback spot.
There's no St. Louis anymore.
Or, sorry, the L.A. Rams. Sorry, I'm so used to calling them St. Louis. But, there's just a lot of questions with the L.A. Rams. They were so sure that Goff would have been the dude, and he's struggling with the offense in the offseason. Their defense is actually pretty decent. It's not bad. I mean... I think they ran into a lot of health issues last year, but...
They did lose Chris Long.
Yeah, but he was okay. I mean, they still have Quinn coming back. He was their defensive juggernaut, in my opinion, with their team. And I mean, they have to put up points, though. That's the thing.
And that's what they struggled with last year, was putting up points.
And the defense was on the field the whole game.
Yeah, and then Nick, like I said, quarterback, Nick Foles, is he going to show up? Because he's still... annoyed that they drafted Goff, and then Goff isn't doing well, and so I'm not sure who the third quarterback is, but it's not anyone going to take them to the promised land. I'll guarantee you that.
No.
So.
I mean, to me, it's one of the other divisions that has, a lot of questions, even with the Cardinals. Is Carson Palmer going to replicate what he did last year, or is he going to start to have regression since he's up there in age now. I love Larry Fitzgerald. He's a beast, but he runs the same thing too with him in the age range, how much more does he have left in the tank?
Well, at least with him, they modified how they use him, so he's more of a slot receiver now.
Right. I mean,
and they have the two Browns, Josh.
They have John Brown.
And Josh
he
Brown.
was a beast for me in fantasy football, by the way. And they have David Johnson emergence as a running back. So,
along with Chris Johnson to kind of be that every now and then back.
That dude. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, if
you got Arizona, Seattle. Question is Seattle a wild card in your prediction?
That's so hard. So I'm gonna say they're a wild card. They have. Even their Legion of Boom isn't the same. They only have the same players on their secondary that they had years ago. Maxwell's gone. They still have Sherman. They still have Cam Chancellor. They did sign Kerry Williams back. But yeah, I mean,
I had already said one of my wild card teams, and that was in the NFC South. I kind of went out on a limb and picked Tampa Bay to make it as a wild card.
There's only 2 wild card slots.
So my other one, preview next week, is coming from the north. So to me, in my prediction, Seattle doesn't make it. It's just Arizona.
Yeah, that's...
Like I said, for me, that's going on a limb with Tampa Bay. I'm kind of throwing it out there. I mean,
I don't know. It's tough. You're gonna have to see how Seattle looks their first 4 or 5 games, maybe.
We'll get ready next week. We're putting in our full predictions in the playoffs. So until next week to make a decision on that.
I am gonna blow minds with my picks next week. Yeah.
Like I said, I've already kind of given a hint on mine. Next week we'll do our final division preview, the NFC North, where my Green Bay Packers come out of. And I'm telling you right now, I have 2 teams coming out of that division.
Vikings and Packers, I bet. One of them's as a wild card.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because I was the Bears and Lions aren't going to do anything. Actually, no, I'm going to go to Lynn. Lions when the Calvin Johnson was holding them back. Now Stafford can perform. That's not happening.
I mean, unless Golden Tate goes out of his mind, that's the only way.
Unless, no. Lions, there's no shot there.
I will also make my fantasy players next week too that you should keep an eye on that might have breakout seasons. I will make a note. One of them plays on my Niners.
I got fantasy that's right around the corner. People got to start getting their teams together.
I've already done my paperwork. I'm gonna do a few mock drafts this week, and
you're gonna do a few mock drafts.
Oh yeah, I get after it. You got to.
You can be like one of those. You can be like the actual NFL where you have like 3,000 mock drafts leading up to the draft, and then it goes completely different than anything that anyone predicted.
I mean, you gotta do your paperwork. It's like you're a GM when you do fantasy draft.
Who knows what the other team's gonna pick? I mean, you got.
Oh, you don't know.
You got no indication.
No, you don't know. You just gotta.
All you need to do is just get your list of top players you want, and as they pick them, you just scratch them off, and you just pick the best available person.
Yeah, we're gonna have to converse about that next week. Yeah. There's a lot of science that goes into fantasy football drafting.
Yeah, a lot of it's just dumb luck.
That happened to me last year, dumb luck, and I made the playoffs, but I lost. Because my players didn't perform because they didn't have great matchups.
So the very first year I ever did fantasy, auto draft team, I won the championship. Wow. Yeah, see, sometimes just dumb luck on who you get, who those breakout people are, who gets hurt, who doesn't. Can you find that person mid-season to pick up that just goes off the second half? I mean, so there's so many variables to it. Like my wife last year, auto drafted, picked up players, now and then. Big signing she had was Greg Barnage. She picked him up. That guy just had a huge, huge second half that carried her to the playoffs and eventually to the champion. So, all comes down to that. So, but
yeah, that's my pick. I mean, it's
so Arizona and possibly Seattle will make that confirmed next week.
Yeah, I'll confirm that tomorrow. I'm gonna do a lot of research with Seattle during the week to see if they're See if I see them as a wild card. It's tough. It's tough for me to say, I guess. I mean, I watch them play They're in my division, so I kind of watch them play, and then I had some of their players in fantasy football last year, so, you gotta...
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be, I don't know.
It's going to be close. I mean, obviously it's not going to be, one team head and shoulders above the other. I mean, there's really no standout, one team in the NFC that you think, oh, they're the hands-down favorites. I mean,
the whole NFC is wide open.
Yeah, it's all pretty close, so even in the AFC it's that way. And it's all pretty... There's no one really standout team that, you put all your money down to make it to
I would have said the Patriots, but Brady's out for 4 games, so who knows how they're going to do now.
I don't think that's going to hurt him as much. So... But, like I said, official predictions next week after we do the last of our divisions, NFC North. I'll have my cheese hat on ready to go.
Gross. I will end this with the Niners, though. It will be... They're either going to... They obviously can't do any worse than last year, so they're either going to surprise people, or they're going to be like... People are going to be like, oh, well, they're right where they should have been, where I predicted they'd been. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think Tom Sula had a very good grasp on the team last year, in my opinion, as a Niners fan. So I will be interested. You did have Carlos Hyde and some of the other players that lost a ton of weight just so they could get leaned up for Chip Kelly's high-octane offense. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. You're not going to really know how your teams are going to do. You don't put a lot in the preseason, no, but when the starters are out there, you're going to pretty much, that's what you're going to be guaranteed to kind of get when the season starts. And then the third...
Even in the preseason, the starters are out there, they're still not going full 100% speed. I mean...
Well, no, but I mean, it's going to be the lineups that you get out there with the first string, for sure by the third and fourth preseason games, when the starters go out, that's going to be what...
Oh, the fourth game, no starters play the fourth game.
Well, no, but the third
is when they do the most of the
playing.
Third, they
play the whole first half.
Yeah.
And some teams, they will play their players in at least the
first series
or the first quarter. I know a lot of the younger teams last year in the preseason, they played their players for first and second quarters, but...
Yeah, fourth preseason game, that's usually... the veterans, will get a series and then they're done. They don't want... Coaches, teams don't want to take any risk at all with them possibly being hurt in the fourth preseason game.
If you're a Packers fan, though, you don't want to see Jordy Nelson probably in any preseason game.
No, he has to be in a preseason game. Yeah, you had to get that timing down with the quarterback. So the only way he's going to do it is he has to get out there and play, and you want them to try to develop this timing during a regular season game. So... We'll get that next week. We
just pray that he doesn't have some freak injury in where he tears his ACL.
So yeah, we'll talk about that next week when you get into the Packers.
It's going to be a heated week next week. I can feel it already.
But yeah, if the 49ers need some help, though, there are a couple players out there that are still available. You have Greg Hardy, who apparently was visiting with the Jaguars, worked out with them for a little while.
Greg Hardy on my team.
Jaguars didn't sign him, but he did work out with them. And then you have Ray Rice in the news recently saying that if he was signed, he would donate his entire season's check.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So, but now, do players like this, Ray Rice, Greg Hardy, get arrested for domestic violence, or really when it gets arrested for anything? Do they deserve a second chance? Now, with the two examples here, Greg Hardy, Ray Rice, of the two, I guess if I had to pick...
I would say Ray Rice.
I would say Ray Rice, because, one, Greg Hardy had his second chance last year with the Cowboys.
And he screwed up.
Yeah, and so I would have to say Ray Rice, because he has not been allowed back on the field since that incident. So, it's been a couple years now.
Yeah.
Is that considered, time served, so to say?
I would say so. I mean, I would.
But now he's a running back, and would he be even helpful to your team at this point?
Maybe. Well, I don't know about my team.
Well, just any team.
Oh,
really.
Any team.
Because he's older now. He's a running back. It's not a position that ages well.
Yeah, but if he's been out for 2 years, he's going to be a lot healthier than probably some of the running back because he hasn't had as much punishment.
As long as he's been conditioning and keeping himself in shape.
Which I would assume he has been if he wants to play for a team.
Yeah.
That he's been keeping in great shape.
I mean,
he's not going to be in football shape quite yet.
No, but I haven't heard anyone express any sort of interest at all in him.
And it sucks because he probably would be good if he could get on the right team because he'd have all this motivation to show.
Yeah, I mean, at very worst, decent, be a decent second back.
Yeah, like a third down back.
Yeah, he's not going to be a primary, but
not like he was in Baltimore. No,
he does bring in some experience. And he would, could be a situational type of back. But if you sign him, you get everything with him. So all the attention, all the media, and all that stupid comes along with it. Is that worth it?
I would say yes. If you think he's gonna fit your scheme for your offense or your team better, I would say yes. Some coaches would want to take a risk on that stuff. I mean.
So yeah, Ray Rice. I think we're in agreement that he, could deserve a second chance.
If someone gives him a shot, I would say I would
compare the two. I don't recall Greg Hardy ever really apologizing for the situation.
No.
Where Ray Rice, take it as you will, immediately came out, said he regretted it, apologized, take it with a grain of salt because was he serious or was it just kind of I got caught, I need to say I'm sorry, type of thing. But he's been out 2 years. I mean he's done his time, so to say. So I mean I would be okay if a team brought him in that need. Obviously you'd have to fit the need for them.
Yeah,
but would bring him in. And, if he does come in, what he needs to do is keep your mouth shut.
And just play football.
You're going to be asked a ton of questions. Just give the generic, I'm just here to concentrate on this team, pass is pass, move on. Just give that generic answer and move on. Greg Hardy, I don't want...
My problem with Greg Hardy is he hasn't had, there was that time during the season with the Cowboys where Dez Bryant hit his mom, when that came out, and... Dez Bryant hasn't had any more issues that I know of since that happened. But with Greg Hardy, he was for the Panthers. He did it, screwed up. Then the Cowboys, Jerry Jones gave him a chance, and he screwed up again. And it's a player like that, like Manziel or something, they're kind of a repeat offender. They know what's going to be the consequences, but they do it again. For him, I guess I wouldn't say that he deserves a shot. I wouldn't be surprised if a team didn't take him. If I was a GM, I wouldn't want him on my team.
No, I don't want that distraction to come along with him because I don't think he's a player that's worth it. Because then you're gonna have to put someone on him constantly just to make sure he stays out of trouble. And plus, for me, he's never come out and really shown any contrition for what he did. He hasn't, from what I recall, he hasn't apologized or anything. So he doesn't seem to affect him morally on what he did. And that, to me, if I was a GM, that would bug me. I don't want someone like that on my team. So keep him as far away as possible from my team. I don't want him. Exactly. And I'm sure there's, quite a bit of players on the league that, some have actually come out and said that they wouldn't want him on their team either. So, I mean, for me, I wouldn't want him. I don't think he had his chance last year. After that, no. I mean, not worth it anymore. Jaguars, like I said, Jaguars were working him out, but didn't sign him. Mm-hmm. And it's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. He doesn't deserve that. No. To me, anytime you put your hands on a woman like that, especially the way he did it, throwing her on a bed of guns, basically, and beating her, that's just... No.
It's kind of sadistic.
Yeah, so anytime someone does anything like that, it's... No. And Ray Rice's was bad.
He did apologize, though.
Yeah, he's shown some, contrition for us, apologize, he's done what he can, so, I mean, like I said, for him, I would be willing to bring him in, work him out, possibly sign him if he was good enough. But Greg Hardy, no, I don't think so.
Nah, I don't. No.
So, we're both in agreement there. Ray Rice, yes. Greg Hardy, no. And then Johnny Manziel, of course. Of course, Johnny Manziel, you bring him in.
I mean,
dynamic player.
Manziel he's got the old Doug Flutie. He's got Doug Flutie in his bones.
Sure. He's just a dynamic player. He's a playmaker.
He's just so captain. The president should be on the Browns. Wahoo!
We know who someone needs to sign. Tim Tebow. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's just out of football because he doesn't play well. But all he does is win. That's all he does. Okay, we're just going to move on from that. Alright, well, remember next week we got NFC North, and we will make our final predictions as far as who's going to be in the playoffs. Also, fantasy picks, who might be a sleeper, who should you target. Once again, subscribe to us, like us on Facebook.
Oh, we're signing off. I was still T-bowing.
He was off in his own world. Thank you to all the news cards we did receive. Tell your friends, have
bring
watch.
more subscribes,
Exactly.
please, and questions.
Yes.
We love to answer.
Love to answer questions. If you want the wrong answer, listen to him. If you want the right answer, listen to me, as always.
If you want the answer from a seasoned veteran, I did predict the Cavaliers to come back and no one else believed in me. So if you got any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer.
Even though when they're down 3-1, you didn't stick with them, and then you didn't stick with them later, but that's another topic. You just love bringing that up. Once again, subscribe, like us on Facebook. Have a good night.